Being a spiritual YouTuber is not all it's cracked up to be. On the surface, everything seems great, fantastic even. Not just with me, but with other people in spiritual circles. You, as the viewer, may watch them and think they must have their life together. They must know everything. They must know, if not everything, quite a lot. Because a lot of the time people are speaking from a place of authority, you could say. And then there are people out there that are sharing their personal journeys, that are trying to help people. And some with comic relief, some not so much. We're all different in our approaches, but I think there is a lot of genuine people as well as disingenuous people as well, mind. However, I need to get this off my chest. There has been stuff going on underneath the surface, with me at least, stuff I've noticed, stuff I've experienced, lots of traps and pitfalls as creators, but also for you guys as the viewers. So I thought, right, let's be candid and tell you what's been happening. So this is what they don't tell you really when you first get into being a content creator, a YouTuber in a spiritual niche. It's what they don't tell you and what you don't expect to happen. Let's get into it. Welcome and welcome back. I'm Sarah, that divination witch. This channel is a safe space. I share my journey, what I've learned, my opinion on things, and I encourage people to ask questions as well. Don't be afraid. No question is silly. Ask away. Everyone's different. If you like that vibe, you know what to do. Hit subscribe. And if you want to support this channel further, I do offer readings. All the links are below. I've also got a Patreon as well, where this year we're on the year of the Dark Goddess, tapping into our raw, unrealized power. When I started YouTube, I didn't do it for views, and I didn't ever think, to be quite honest, that it would become my full-time job. Touch wood, touch all the woods. I have managed to make it so, and that's a beautiful thing. It's a dream come true, to be quite honest, and it's because I get to help people. That's why it's a dream come true. But when I first started, no, I didn't have that in mind, you know. I started as a content creator back in 2020 on TikTok. Yes, the dreaded TikTok, which is just, it's not the greatest place there. And I was thrust into the world of divination, and I was one of the first people who were doing osteomancy, bone throwing, things like that. I admit, I answered some silly questions, and I got views for it. And I got a taste for helping people though, despite the silliness, despite it's a bit tasteless, Sarah. I got a taste for helping people though. And so it was Mother, aka Hecate, which if you're not new here, she is my main goddess. I worship her. She directed me to come here to YouTube. And there must be, to be quite honest, I know there is. It's not that there must be, there is a deeper meaning to it, and it's unfolding to me now. It was never about a popularity contest. It was to help people in her name. One of the videos on this channel that really popped off and got views was a video about Hecate. And not to blow my own horn or anything like that, or to be egotistical, but I was one of the first people to speak about Hecate so candidly, and to not paint her out to be this dark, scary woman, even though she can be, of course, but she is approachable. She is. There's no two ways about it. And if you look at history as well, just a quick side note, she was known as a protector of women and children, goddess of childbirth, protector of the home. So why would a protector be all scary all the time? You get me? Anyways, so I was the first to be honest and open about that side of her. And she wanted that. She directed me to do that, and she still directs me to do that. And that's what she wanted. And it's no wonder that it was her video that had the channel pop off. Because in my personal life, for a long, long time, I've talked about it on the channel before, but I was working jobs that were making me miserable, depressed, undervalued, overworked. That's the vibe. And a lot of you, I empathise, are still in jobs like that. And I really do empathise. And I hope that you get a lucky break out of there, because nobody deserves to be treated that way. So I worked my butt off, and I'm going to give myself credit there. I was trying my best, doing full-time jobs and YouTube, and also the divination side of things as well, helping people. So it was turning into a side hustle. It was like a happy, I wouldn't say accident, but a happy coincidence that I was starting to be able to earn money off this too. Now, in an ideal world, if money wasn't a thing, then I wouldn't be bothered about that. But it is a thing, and we all need it to live. And it was nice to be able to do that. And so with that vision in mind, I've ploughed through, and then 2024 is when I've gone full-time into this game, full-time, with Mother's blessing, with Hecate's blessing and guidance, doing my thing. Now, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but YouTube themselves noticed me, and I was so blooming honoured by that. It wasn't just me. There were a few other creators. I think it was about 200 of us, something like that. And I think this is a thing they do to channels that are up and coming. No matter what your niche is, they call it a niche. They offer mentorship and coaching sessions, and it's not one-on-one, it's in group settings with the other people, and you share hints and tips and workshops, things like this. But hey, it was Google, it was YouTube reaching out to me. That's like, wow, pat on the back, and I took it, because I'd be silly not to, I'd be silly not to take the opportunity to do that. Now, speaking candidly about it, what they teach you is to compare yourself to other people. And to be quite honest, I understand why. But any advice you look up on YouTube itself in a muggle way, in a non-spiritual, just strategic marketing kind of way, they get you to compare yourself to. YouTube themselves, you've got channels like vidIQ, Think Media, who I have looked into, and I've used some of their tools as well. They also get you to compare yourself to others who are doing similar or the same sort of thing as you. And so this coaching situation, I think it was around October time. So it was the back end of last year that I had this, and I would attend as much as I could. And I started really looking into my analytics and things like this, which any YouTuber, even if you haven't posted videos, I'm sure you've got that tab, YouTube Studio. It's basically you're comparing yourself against yourself in a way. And you're looking at what video performs, how long people watch it for, what's the retention rate, do people come back to watch, have they subscribed because of the video, have they unsubscribed? You can go really into depth and really, look into the graphs and the figures of things. Now, in my personal life, I've spoke about it on the channel before, I've done a lot of healing around trauma and a lot of healing around my inner child. I've got CPTSD. So even though I've healed a lot of things and integrated a lot of things, I still have triggers. Everyone does. I don't care who you are. We've all got our weaknesses and triggers. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist sometimes. I do have this competitive streak, and that comes from feeling not good enough. And that comes from childhood, from having to over excel because I used to do that, prove yourself sort of thing. And I know that looking at stats and shit like this, even in my jobs before I did any of this, and I think it's human nature to an extent, I would always take the bad feedback over the good, And it's not so much, I couldn't give a shit about the comments. Sometimes they get to me, sometimes not, but you can imagine some comments I get, It's not so much that, it's the numbers. I'm measuring myself. It's a metric where I'm like, oh no, I'm performing. Oh no, I'm not. So with that in mind, I'm constantly comparing myself to other people and their channels, what they're doing. It's like a silent competition. It's toxic. It's toxic mindset from a spiritual lens. And it started to get me really down because there were other people who are witchy YouTubers who are doing really well that I'm like, wow, they're doing well. Well, why aren't I doing well? We're like similar audiences, things like this. Getting really upset with myself and putting those negative feelings on myself and thoughts on myself, which there's no room for that in spirituality. And I'm going to be doing more videos about mental health and spirituality. But to be quite honest, it impacted my mental health because I do work hard on all my content. And I started falling down a trap of, instead of just speaking from the heart, now I always speak from the heart, don't get me wrong. But I was looking at, well, what's trending? What's people watching in the niche, and covering more to do with that instead of just speaking from the heart in a way. There were certain things I did, like my podcasts and things like that. That was Hecate's guidance. She wanted me to do that. But there was other things that I'm like, do I really, really care about this? Like, do I care about this? Well, yes, but no. Oh. So I was really getting imposter syndrome and feeling sad. And when I look back, say even this time last year, I wasn't full time yet. This time last year, it was around June that happened. So this time last year, I was working a job. I was hustling. And, I've come on leaps and bounds in under a year, really have on a personal level. So much has changed. But this advice I was getting kind of brought me into old toxic habits. The old saying of comparison is the thief of joy. It really, really is. It had me manifesting bad luck and bad energy onto myself, which I'm going to talk about a bit more near the end of the video, okay? And so I've come to a realization. I had to speak out about this for number one. Just in case anyone else is out there, a YouTuber, spiritual or not, feeling this way, you're not alone. Speak from the heart. Don't just compare yourself to others and think, well, this one did a video about this topic. I did, and, they got more views than me. Doesn't matter. Speak from the heart. Be yourself. That's the most important thing you can be, and I was losing that, if I'm quite frank. So Hecate's told me, stop doing that. Stop looking at analytics. Just go back to your roots kind of thing. And that's what I'm doing. We're going back to our roots, okay? I've got a lot of content filmed actually and ready to go, but we're going back to our roots. I may be changing things up. I'll still answer questions. I'll still take requests, things like this. But I'm speaking from the heart and speaking for you guys too. That's the most important thing. Because at the end of the day, the numbers game, does it matter really? I worry because, yes, I am being totally vulnerable with you guys. This is my livelihood now. So I do have to see some of it from a business point of view. Like, I need to get views to have sales if people are interested in, supporting the channel. No pressure, mind. Of course not. But, you've got to think of these things. But it's not the be-all, end-all. At the end of the day, if worse comes to worse, I'll survive. I'm doing this for a higher meaning. And I think as a spiritual person, as a spiritual channel, I lost that and it really impacted me mentally and spiritually. It did. So on the spiritual level, when how do I say this? On the channel, I've got a video out and I'm going to be doing more videos covering it about what I believe the real spiritual warfare is. It's called Wettigo. That's a Native American term for it. for a long time, I was just calling it the evil. A lot of other witches have talked about it, even on YouTube, and they call it different things. I don't think they understand exactly what it is sometimes, because I didn't. Things like astral parasites, trickster spirits, they get all these sort of labels. I heard someone call it watchers before, shadow people. These beings exist, and they are negative beings that come from negative energy. And when you feel down in the dumps, yes, there's the mental health side of it, it's a cycle, but it attracts them. The law of attraction is real. And I've been down rabbit holes to do with it recently in a positive way. Manifestation is very real. You can manifest good, but you can also manifest bad. And with the good, you can manifest not just good luck for yourself, but good vibrational spirits. You know, spirits are not just deities and blooming angels and stuff, and they're not just dead people. They are other beings as well. But on the negative polarity, on the negative side, you attract negative energy. And that happened to me as well recently, twice. And enough's enough at this point. I need to stop doing it. Getting so in my head about stuff, I'm attracting it. So what happens, it might help someone out there, I'll do a proper video about this, because I've even had customers say, I've got something attached to me. When you've got things attached to you, 9 times out of 10, you've attracted it yourself. And I'm not getting at people, because I've done it to me as well. It's something that happens, sadly, and it's quite commonplace. So when you are feeling down and negative and things like this, especially negative self-talk, self-deprivation, you attract negative energy. Like attracts like. What you put out is what you get back, in every sense of the word. So I was putting out this negative energy about not feeling good enough and all this stuff, etc., getting in my head about things. Negative energy was coming to me. Now, normally it doesn't just come to you straight away as like a spirit or an attachment or whatever. The way I have been taught to describe it to people, and I have to some of my customers who's asked about it, is if you are doing a science experiment in school, like high school level school, at least in Britain, I know some of you Americans I've spoke with said you did this, we did a science experiment with something called iron filings and a magnet, like one of those strong, like off Looney Tunes magnets, where you sprinkle the iron and you collect it with the magnet, and all these tiny little bits are attracted to the magnet, and they're all, you know, lumped together to one big bit then. Well, that's exactly what happens with the negative energy. It could just be energy floating about, a little blob of energy sucks to you, and then more, and then more, and then more. And the more it builds up, the worse it can get and can form attachments. And they come in different varieties. Now, I had to remove something from me that attached to my crown chakra and was making me feel drained as hell. It was blocking my spiritual gifts. I could still commune with spirits. I could still hear them and sense them. But it was like I was talking through a wall. It felt muffled. It felt silenced. I had to literally, in the astral realm, through energy work, and a banishing ritual in, you know, the physical, I had to remove something from my crown chakra, pry it off with my theme, with an energy knife, basically, and kill this thing. Now, that sounds crazy to anyone who's not spiritual, I know. But it's true. whether you want to believe it or not, there is an impact on you. And the more you feel down, the more down you feel, whether you want to believe in the spiritual entity side of it or not. So it had manifested as this like squid looking thing, this leech that was sucking onto me. Now, if I'd left it there, I would have just felt worse and worse and worse, and it would have gained more power. And some of them gain so much power that they can be a humanoid. They can manifest as different things. That's what trickster spirits are and stuff. So there are things out there that will, you know, manifest as and pretend to be your dead grandma or your deities or your spirit guides and whatever. And the more they're left untreated, the more powerful this stuff can become. So It starts as just energy and then manifests as something more. So this is why I harp on about spiritual hygiene. Keep yourself cleansed, you as a person and your home, and keep yourself protected. Perform cleansings and banishings regularly when required. Do ritual baths. I've got a video to come out. It might be out before this. I don't think so, because this is urgent. So it's filmed though, where I've spoke about cleansing and banishing and how to do it, because I think it's really, really needed. A lot of people ask me about it. Go buy some books. Buy some books on it, you know. There's plenty of books out there. Jason Miller's got one. He's the first one off the top of my head that everyone harps on about. Whatever. Buy some books on it. Yeah, you need to be doing it. Spiritual hygiene. So back to the point with YouTube. Basically, that's the tea. That's what's been going on with me. That's what people don't tell you when you get into this. I'm going to stop looking at bloody statistics. It'd be great. Oh, of course, I'm human. It would be great if, like, I woke up and I had, I don't know, 50,000, 100,000 people following us. But does it mean I'm any less spiritual? Does it mean I don't know me shit? Like, I know me shit now, basically. No. Does it mean the video's any less important? No. I'm making these for you. And I'm doing it to help you guys as well. Before I go on the subject of YouTube, I'll do separate videos about this, I believe. But it's just there's some things that have come to light in the YouTube sphere of occultism, spirituality, witchcraft, in that sphere. I feel like I just need to touch on. Now, I'm not going to name names, things like that. We're not about drama. After everything I've said, we're not about the low vibration in that regard. But a few things need to be said. Be careful who you're listening to. And this goes for me too. You know, I'm not going to get butthurt about that. There are some spiritual people. First is most obvious. If you are following a channel that claims to be love and light and all this shit, and all they do is tear other people down, they are not love and light, no matter what they preach. And that does not just mean witches or spiritual people. That goes for Christianity and other religions too. There is a lot out there that are spreading hateful messages. At time of filming, I saw a very popular Christian YouTuber, because I still get Christian things suggested to me for some reason. He purposely went to a metaphysical fair and was trying to convert people to Jesus. And I think that's disgusting personally. The people were actually really polite with him. He went up to a tarot reader and her husband and, you know, tried to convert them, prayed to Jesus for them, was hounding them kind of thing. And they were civil, you know, and he pushed and pushed and pushed. Imagine a witch going to them and trying to do that. You know, I'm getting sidetracked here. I could, and I have half the mind to react to that. But what I'm talking about is when you have YouTubers, since drama content is very popular on YouTube, no matter what side of YouTube you're on, when you have other people stepping on other bigger channels, normally bigger, to get ahead, and not sharing much of their own knowledge and their own practice or beliefs, it's more the drama show. That would be a red flag, especially if they're claiming to be spiritual. So be wary of that. It's not just about the videos someone puts out, it's the energy they give as well. Are they disingenuous with what they're saying? You know, I've recently put videos out about AI, and with stuff like that, anyone can write a YouTube script. I showed you guys what ChatGPT can do. Does it sound like it's them speaking? I'm not condemning anyone for a script, but is it from the heart? Just ask yourself that. Because this goes into the next thing I wanted you to look out for, because of stuff that's been happening in the YouTube sphere of occult people and stuff. Watch out for cults within the occult. There are charlatans and there are snake oil salesmen out there, and there always will be. We can't control that. If somebody is saying, I can do this for you and you'll have all this power, or I can, you know, only I can give you this knowledge, and if they're like Putting videos out saying a whole lot of words but not really giving any substance, that's a red flag. Watch out for things like rituals and stuff like this and ceremonies. Different if it's in a group context, like a coven would maybe. But look out for red flags where people are like, I've got the knowledge and only I've got the knowledge. And if you want the knowledge, give me $100 a month for the knowledge. That's a cash grab and a cult, you know. There are people who don't always have the best of intentions, especially in the occult. Even love and lighters, there's a false light as well. But there are people out there who are working from ego, and they either want to tear other people down to get ahead because their egos are fragile, or they want to be the master of the pissing universe. I don't know. Like, they want to be the very best, like no one ever was. Pokemon master here. You know, so just be careful. There's a few things that came out in the occult circles recently, and I felt the need to just say to people, have your eyes peeled and just don't just take one person's word for anything. I say that all the time on the channel. Don't just listen to one person and say, oh, well, that's the truth and that's it. Make your mind up. Get other people's opinions. Speak to people. Go on YouTube. Go on other socials. Read books. And I mean, books are just as bad these days, some of them. I mean, there's AI generated books as well. Check out reviews. Use so much discernment, guys. It's getting worse out there, as in wool being pulled over people's eyes, let's say. So you gotta be wary, you know. So anyways, that's my update. That's the tea. And truly, to every witchy YouTuber, occult YouTuber, spiritual YouTuber, I do wish everyone the best. I really do. And I hope nobody's feeling how I did, basically. So I hope this video has helped someone. And we're all, at the end of the day, we're all human. And this is something I used to live by. Someone told me it once when I first started out, is that there's always going to be competition. There can be healthy competition, of course, but like at the end of the day, especially with spirituality, people are going to be drawn to who they resonate with. And it's who they're meant to be drawn to. Not everybody's going to be drawn to you, even if you've got 1 million followers. That's irrelevant. Not everyone's going to be drawn to you. So I have to take my own advice again and take a step back and stop caring about that, you know. I started caring and I need to stop caring about that side of things. So, if you made it this far, I always say, you know, you may as well hit subscribe if you liked me rambling on. If you want to learn more about witchcraft, paganism, hecate, it's all on my channel. And until next time, stay safe, stay witchy. Bye.